Alright, so we are about halfway through August, and I have not made a ranking of the July 2024 movies I saw, so that's what we're going to do today. Alright, before we get started, this is the halfway point across the year of 2024 so far, and the year of 2024 has been a disappointing one for me, where there's been so many movies and stuff that I just felt have been disappointing up until this, and that's why I'm pleased to say July is easily the best month of the year so far. My top 3 in here are still currently in my top 10 of the year, and that's after I've seen a couple August movies, some of which are also in my top 10 of the year. Alien Romulus, which I just got home from going to go see. But yeah, so that will be the case in this video, that there are 3 movies that are in my top 10 of the year so far. But what is your ranking of the July 2024 movies you've seen? I've seen 5 of them, and here's my ranking. Before we get started, subscribe, hit the like button, hit the bell, and again, comment down below what is your ranking. And with that said, number 5, we're going with Despicable Me 4, and this is not an awful movie. I went into this, it was on my most anticipated list of the year because I thought the trailers looked like enough of a movie that could call back to the originals, enough of that aspect of it. It's not that at all. And I don't totally think it's a bad movie. Yeah, I think it's enjoyable. I think it's entertaining enough, especially when it's not focused on a story. When it's just hanging out with these characters that I've grown and loved with my whole life, I have enjoyed the movie. When it's just him goofing off, doing random stuff, having fun on screen, I enjoy that aspect of the movie. However, it's not a necessarily good movie. The story here, bland and forgettable. Ever since from the beginning of the movie, when it introduced the story here, I was just bored in every single sequence that it was a story. We have a third act that is pretty much like every other one. Character has a giant robot and he has to fight Gru. So many Despicable Me movies like that have that, and it just overall can get boring at the times. Now, it's entertaining enough when it's just our characters goofing around. The Minion plotline about them having superpowers, it's dumb, but there is like 1 or 2 sequences that made me laugh in the film. So it's not a totally boring movie. It's not a movie like that. It's not like Minions, where I was like completely bored throughout the entire movie. It's a movie that it's entertaining when it's a bad movie, but when it tries to be a good movie, it's boring. Now, P.S., there will still be a Despicable Me ranking coming to the channel. I have not done that yet. I will film it. It'll just be like a casual, maybe walking through the yard or sitting on my bed. I'm not gonna like get dressed and be in the studio. Well, obviously I'll be dressed, but I'm not gonna get like fancy with like the fancy shirts and my sweatpants and do that. I don't know what kind of point I'm trying to make, but there will still be a ranking of the Despicable Me movie, so stay tuned for that. Number 4, I'm going with Fly Me to the Moon, a movie that I enjoyed the trailer when I saw it once, and I went to the theaters to see it because all of my friends wanted to go see a movie right after we got back from the mission trip, and it was between Despicable Me 4, which I would not have went because I had no interest in watching it again, or Fly Me to the Moon, and I convinced them all to go see Fly Me to the Moon, and it was solid. It was fine. The cast here is great. Channing Tatum, an actor I don't normally like, is actually being pretty good in his last couple of movies with this movie and Deadpool and Wolverine. Aside from that, Deadpool and Wolverine, he's not good. It's just funny as a joke, making fun of how bad he is as an actor. But anywho, he's good here, and his chemistry with Scarlett Johansson was pretty good. They have some cool chemistry here, and everyone else has good chemistry, and that's what elevates it here, is that they focus on a romance that you kind of care about. You kind of like the romance between our 2 characters here, and it makes the film so much more easier to enjoy. I think there was a cool idea here about staging the moon landing. As someone who believes the moon landing is fake, so sue me. I genuinely enjoyed that aspect of the film, and I thought it was fun. I think the movie overall is a fun movie, but it does run a little bit too long, and it does have sequences that just take me completely out, kind of bore me out of the movie. And so while I do have fun with it, it's mainly a fun, forgettable movie that kind of had a way too long third act that did not need to be that long whatsoever. So it's entertaining when it focuses on the good stuff, but it does run a little bit too long, prevents it from being a fully great movie. But it's a fine movie. If I had a girlfriend, I would go, but I don't have a girlfriend, so yeah. There's that. And now we enter the top 3, and obviously these are in my top 10 of the year currently. So the number 3 I think is 8th spot of my top 10, but so it could get squeezed out later on. But the other 2, I'm gonna try my best to keep them in the top 10. And number 3, I'm going with Twisters, a fun destruction tornado movie. Disaster movie is a term I'm looking for, with character arcs and characters that you actually care about. I was surprised when I leave the theater and learned that Glen Powell, who is making a great name for himself, obviously we're going to care about him because he's Glen Powell, but his central character has nice character arcs. Daisy Edgar Jones, great actress by the way. She is so good in this movie, and what she does here, she has a character arc, and it's really cool. And so while you get everything that you wanted with the tornadoes destroying stuff, houses go flying everywhere, you really get something that would make a great movie, which is characters that you actually enjoy. It's a summer blockbuster that kind of throws you back to the 90s or 80s, that kind of filmmaking where it doesn't matter about anything going on in the real world. It takes you, ridiculous movie about people trying to stop tornadoes with a great cast, great character arcs, and I really did enjoy. What prevents this one from being higher is I do feel like it needs another rewatch. I wanted to go so bad to see it a second time in the theater, but I couldn't. Now it's on VOD, and I might buy it, or I might just wait until it comes to Blu-ray, but I will give this one a second watch. That's something I would definitely do, is watch this movie a second time. But I did really enjoy this movie on that first watch, and I think I'd enjoy it even more on the second watch. Number 2, we're going with Longlegs, the scariest movie of the decade so far, I think. And what elevates this one is I feel as if something like this could actually happen. Maybe not to the extreme that Hollywood can present it as, but for a movie where, as someone who's a Christian who believes in God, so obviously you have to believe in the other side, which is Satan, something like this could actually happen, to where I left the theater and I was mentally disturbed. I was genuinely disturbed after leaving the theater. Let me tell you, I went on a live stream, and for some reason I had it stuck in my head. The film is so terrifying and puts a sense of dread in your head that I felt like I just felt unsettled throughout the next week or so after seeing this movie. I felt genuinely like creeped out. I was always looking behind my shoulder, and something that makes it so good is the direction by Oswald Perkins in here, where he always has the characters on the center of the camera. So imagine all this was just empty space. Your eyes are constantly darting around you, looking to see who's around you. There's flashback sequences that it look like they're from a Polaroid camera, and those sequences are great. Has a nice vibe to it, and throughout the entire movie you feel the sense of dread, you feel the sense of fear that is in this movie, and quite frankly I loved it. I love the sense of fear, I love the sense of dread, and it is a genuinely terrifying movie, and it's easily the scariest movie of the decade so far for me. But number 1, I'd have to go with Deadpool and Wolverine. This was a movie that I was super excited for, but also super nervous for it, because the MCU hasn't been its top lately. It hasn't been the best that it possibly could be. And the trailers and the runtime made it seem like, ooh, this could feel really overstuffed, this feel really rushed. Is it a good movie? Not really. It's not really a good movie, but my God, it is an entertaining one. The thing that elevates this movie is it has so many cameos that actually matter. It's like Spider-Man No Way Home, where you have, I remember that character from that movie, that character from that movie. But they elevate the story. They're part to the story. They give a send-off to the Fox universe of all the Marvel movies that we used to have. Obviously, because Disney bought it. The main Marvel universe now is just the MCU. We're barely getting anything like that. Obviously, we're still getting the Venom movies and the Morbius movies and Madam Web and Kraven the Hunter. Why are we getting those anymore? Why? All of those old or not, I'm not gonna say old, but older movies that don't really matter. They're just movies out there for entertainment, not in the big scheme of things. It honors those in a fun way. The cast here, obviously great. Ryan Reynolds, Hugh Jackman, great chemistry here. Hugh Jackman can bring a sense of actual performance in here that makes him a very good actor in this goofy movie. You feel the character arcs that he can go through. There are some solid character arcs, definitely the weakest character arcs in the Deadpool franchise, but there are some solid things here. The story is stupid. It doesn't matter. The story makes no sense. It's stupid on the surface without all of this mumbo jumbo cameo, fun Ryan Reynolds Deadpool stuff. It'd be a terrible movie. If it wasn't about Deadpool or Wolverine and didn't have all these cameos, an overall story about someone being sent to the void and Cassandra Nova doing what she does, it could be rather boring. But all of that stuff elevates it. I've seen it 3 times in the theater, and I would 100% go see it a 4th time. I love this movie, and that's why it's number 1. Alien Romulus review coming very soon. I genuinely love that movie. Let me know down below, what is your ranking of the July movies I have seen. Thank you guys for clicking on this video, and with that said, subscribe, join the Nerd Army. Peace out.